Why Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas is awful and should be removed from the Mickey's Upon a Christmas extended universe promptly. Hi, I'm Zach Riley, and today we answer that question. You see, for 5 years I've been, in love with a certain movie I like to call Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas may get overlooked or dismissed by a lot of people. For one thing, it's a direct-to-DVD movie, and it's not even a sequel, so really, how good could it be? Another point is, well, it's Mickey and Minnie and Daisy and Donald and Huey and Louie and Dewey. Who really cares about these characters? A lot of people will say, oh, no, we want the new stories. We want Big Hero 6. We want Tangled. We want Moana. We want Frozen. None of this Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas bull bananas. But the thing is, this movie is wonderful. For one thing, it's extremely heartwarming. I think this movie is viewed best around a fireplace, with your family, sitting on the couch together, blankets wrapped around all your bodies, on a cold winter day, drinking hot cocoa. That's when this movie is best. It is, in its purest form, a Christmas movie. And it does its Christmas job of being a Christmas movie extremely well. But that's not all. This movie is also made beautifully. It's hand-drawn animation, which I'm always a fan of. Now, sure, CGI has its uses, but for a movie like this, I think hand-drawn is kind of the only way to go. Hand-drawn gives this more homemade and homey feel to it. When you have CGI, you know there was all this technology put into it. But if you have a hand-drawn video, you're like, oh, I can get behind these stories. CGI, it feels all plasticky and manufactured. In addition, this movie has a very interesting, compelling, and charming story. All three of them are great. It could be the fanboy in me speaking, but I prefer the second. Personally, I think it's the most fun and also the most emotional. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, but for first-time viewers, there is a scene where Max tries to convince Goofy to do something, I won't say what, using a teddy bear, and that scene, inexplicably, it always makes me cry. I say inexplicably, but I think really it's not inexplicable, because this story is crafted so well that you feel for these characters. You really understand what Goofy is going through. He really loves his son, and he wants his son to share the same love for Christmas that he has. So he goes to all lengths to prove to him that Santa is real. And all the other stories are great too. The third story, The Gift of the Magi, it's a retelling of a classic, very, very classic story. Two people, they have one item, and they want to get their significant other an item to go with that item, but they can't afford that item that they want to give to their significant other, so they have to sell the original item. Now, I really like how they did this. Mickey had a harmonica, and this all makes sense with the story, because later Mickey is prevented from getting to the shops in time because the Firehouse 5, the local band in the Mickey Mouse town, I'm not sure what the exact name is, it's never said in the movie, but the Firehouse 5, they needed someone to help at their charity event because they weren't getting any items for their trash can. So Mickey, with his harmonica, and this is why it's so genius, Mickey had the harmonica, and not only was he able to help the Firehouse, but that also prevented him from being able to buy the gift for Minnie. So it has this completely conflicting, contrasting, this amazing story where, is this really a good thing that Mickey is playing for the band? You really feel for him. You can't feel too mad at Mickey, you can't feel too bad at the Firehouse 5 for pulling him away because he's getting all this stuff for charity. But on the other hand, you're kind of like, man, what guy? Just let him go. So he needs to get the stuff. And in the end, of course, he can't really afford it because the greatest villain, in my mind, of all time, Stinky Pete, takes away all his money out of his paycheck. We really see how kind of a creature Mickey Mouse is, because he's trying to sell to a poor family a really small tree, where Stinky Pete is trying to get this really poor family, sell them this giant 10-foot tree, which they'd have to set up a a payment plan. Sorry, that's just my Apple Watch. But he also gets paid a certain amount of money for helping these people. And he's always cheery. He never feels too bad. He never feels too sad in the movie. And the only time he feels really sad is when he's not able to get a gift for Minnie. So again, we understand this character of Mickey. He's this really kind, generous person. He loves helping people out. And he doesn't mind if his boss gets a little mad at him just because he helped someone out. He knew it was the right thing to do to point out this tree to this clearly poor family, and he did it, even if it would cost him his girlfriend's gift. So again, it's just this great understanding of all the characters, laying out of the plot, and that, honestly, that's my least favorite story. Even that has such a great story. Has a great lesson too. You know, you got to be careful. You got to be appreciative of what you have, because at the end, Mickey and Minnie are completely. They're totally like, oh, Mickey, that's so kind of you. They were never sad. It really teaches you a lesson. Like, even if you get something that you really didn't want or you can't really use, you have to just be appreciative, because at least you got something, right? So the first story I'll just touch on briefly. I know I'm kind of wasting a little bit time here, kind of fanboying here. If you want to talk to me further about the movie, my email is zriley00@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. We'll have a nice conversation. We can further discuss all the greatnesses of Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas and the weaknesses of Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. But for now, I'll just briefly touch on the first story. The first story is a story where Huey, Louie, and Dewey, Donald's nephews, they have a great Christmas. You know, they wake up in the morning, they open all their presents, they get a special gift from their Uncle Donald. They take a sled out, that's the gift. They sled around, they get a turkey, they have a fun time. And at the end of the day, they say, man, I just wish Christmas could last forever. But what happens is, slowly, obviously, the wish is granted. That's kind of the catalyst to the whole story. The wish is granted, and the Christmas repeats itself over and over again. And again, at the end of the movie, we learn this great lesson: everything in moderation. You know. And there's actually, I know this sounds like a traditional story that you've probably heard before. I know in Groundhog Day is an example. Obviously in Groundhog Day he didn't wish for it. We never really get to understand why it happened in Groundhog Day, but we know how it happened in this one. So there's actually a little bit of a twist. We actually see Huey, Louie, and Dewey kind of, they don't just go from getting really sad about it, getting like kind of just going, oh man, it's really sad, man. Oh, yeah, it's so boring. I've learned the true meaning of Christmas now. Please take us back. We see this like amazing, like this is what would actually happen. They would get so bored of what is happening that they would start to wreak havoc. So that's exactly what they do. They replace the turkey. They replace the dead turkey with a live turkey, and the turkey runs around and messes everything up. So that's where the lesson is actually learned. It's an even stronger of an impact, because we see how much better they should have acted on that Christmas day. All the Christmases, they act so rude. They don't appreciate their grandma or whoever she is, who says, "Where are my boys? Where are my kisses?" Sorry, I can't go that low in the falsetto register, or whatever it's called, that high of a register. They don't appreciate the love that their grandma is giving them. Uncle Donald's present. We see this great scene. You kind of throw it away at first. The little card comes down. They leave it off because they're running away. And Donald says, "Oh, you didn't even read your card," you know, the way that Donald talks. And you think it's just a funny, you know, thing, like, oh, yeah, these kids are so wacky. You don't think much of it because you don't really know where the story's going. Then later, like, we have this really emotional moment that really impacts them when the day is ruined because they see the card and they say, "Oh, wow, we should have just we really," because it said like "Merry Christmas, boys, I love you," or something along the lines of that, and they really like change that would really change their mind. So it all comes back. There's creative writing. They never use like what's it, Deus Ex Machina in this. It's just like everything makes perfect sense. Everything was written perfectly. In my mind, it is the best movie I personally have seen. I'm not saying it's the best movie ever. I certainly haven't seen every movie, but as far as I have seen, it is the best movie I have. The best movie in existence. So, next we're going to get into a section of this informative video about Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas, which in my mind is a complete and utter disappointment. Technically, of course, it's not the worst movie of all time, but it's just such a letdown to me that I think it's probably down there, like in the bottom 5 maybe of movies that I've seen. I've seen some bad movies, but just from the pure letdown alone, it in no way followed up with the pure joy, wonder, and magic of Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. So the first thing that's so glaringly obvious in Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas is the complete change in animation style. They go from this beautiful hand-drawn, amazing hand-drawn animation to this ugly-looking, gross CGI thing. Now, as I said before, I appreciate CGI when it's good, but this is not good CGI. This is bad CGI. This movie was made in 2004. CGI had certainly made some leaps and bounds, and honestly, I believe this movie could have been made beautifully in CGI, but I believe like Finding Nemo came out, and that's an amazingly beautiful CGI movie. But they just didn't care with this one. They took so little time in making all the characters. They just looked bad. They look so weird and like they're made of plastic or something. They don't look like people. You know what I mean? And another thing is, the Mickey Mouse and gang have always been associated with hand-drawn animation. You know, really, do you ever see a CGI Mickey? Sure you do, occasionally. Mickey Mouse Playhouse is one. That is a throwaway show. No one really cares about it. It's for kids, little kids. But other than that, we only ever see really Mickey in hand-drawn status. You can feel free to point out an exception to that. But for the most part, all I can remember is him being hand-drawn. So it just doesn't look right. You know, CGI is good for some things, not good for others, and this is a bad choice on them. I don't know if it was just easier to do it. If this was an actual artistic choice, I am very mad. I would be more mad if it was an artistic choice than if they were just lazy, because this was 100% the wrong choice to make. I'm gonna get more in depth into the specific stories and all my flaws with those, but before I get into that, I'm gonna get into some more broad complaints. First of all, there's this thing they did where they tried to be all cute and make like puns and like jokes and to have this like buddy relationship between like all the elves and stuff, like hey man, or like the reindeer. They did this like thing where they were making the reindeer were making jokes, or the elves were making jokes, and the funniness, the comedy wasn't coming from the movie, it was just coming from people telling jokes. That's not good comedy. The comedy, if you want to see comedy coming from people, you got to go to a stand-up show. But it's all about showing, not telling, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're telling the jokes to make you think it's funny, but really it's not. In the original, all the humor came from physical mishaps, like Goofy throwing up a cookie tray or Donald throwing up a egg tray. That sounds redundant. There are other examples too, like when Huey, Louie, and Dewey take the sled and the card is left behind. I already mentioned that. In addition, there's a scene where Huey, Louie, and Dewey assemble a sled, which is also takes the form of a boat. I like that too. It stays in line with the theme of Donald Duck being a ship captain, but that's besides the point. That is another example. The ship disassembles. The humor comes from actually watching it. When they're making jokes, it just doesn't feel right, and I didn't appreciate it at all. Another thing is some of the jokes were kind of not age inappropriate, but kind of just like you had to be more of an intellectual to understand them, kind of like puns. Like you can't really, like, if you're a small child, some more advanced level puns, don't get me wrong, I'm a pun connoisseur, but some more advanced level puns children will get. And this movie, this is a very clear distinction I would like to make. There's a difference between a movie that is for kids with some stuff that'll make it bearable for adults, and a movie that is for both kids and adults. And the movie that's both for kids and adults is a movie that both kids and adults will understand and appreciate to the exact same level. Neither party will feel like they're missing out. And that's what Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas did so well. It is clearly a very, very good family film. It can be viewed, obviously, as a young child. I was probably 9 the first time I saw Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. It can also be viewed as a teenager. I was 14 the last time I saw Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. In fact, I still am. Older people, I know a reviewer, the Nostalgia Critic, he reviewed Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. He enjoyed it too. So this movie can be enjoyed by all the generations. You don't need to watch it with your kids. Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas, because it's so bad, and I think this is where some of the problems come from. Because it's so bad, they had to try and throw in some of these jokes so that the adults would get them. But what the creators don't understand is that if it's not funny, if it's not good for the adults, it's not going to be good for the kids either. The kids aren't going to like it as much. You need to make a movie that appeals to both audiences. One last thing, and I swear I'll try to make this quick. A little thing about the characterization. In this movie, all the characters are so out of whack, it's ridiculous. And also the continuity. We'll get into some more examples later, but the first major example that just popped out to me right away as soon as I sat down and watched this movie. And by the way, I've only watched this movie once, and that was 2 days ago, because I was so afraid to watch it. And I should clarify, watched it in its whole once. I've tried 5 times to watch the next sequel, but like I couldn't get past like the first minute because just the CGI alone threw me off, and I knew it was gonna be nowhere near as good as the first. But I think that many times we see Daisy, not many times, in the first movie, which I have it written down here for you, just for reference, Bells on Ice. I had to write the titles down so I could actually remember what they were about. Bells on Ice, where Mickey and Daisy have an ice skating competition. This is completely out of character for Minnie and Daisy. They have this rivalry that's like ridiculous. It would never happen in real life. When I say real life, I mean in real Mickey life. Minnie and Daisy have always had this friendship, this camaraderie. It's never been like Minnie and Daisy are kind of like neighbors, sort of, like acquaintances, like Mickey and Donald are friends, so like they kind of have to tag along. It's like they've also been friends. We saw established in Mickey and Minnie's Gift of the Magi that they work together at a gift wrapping shop. At least they work at a mall. So we know these guys are friends, but it just doesn't make any sense why they're fighting. They have this ice skating competition, which also, why does it take place? I don't know. In a town, why are there only 2 competitors? And why is it head-to-head? And why do they make so many poor decisions? The characters, also the writers, also the director and the producer and the person who gave the go-ahead for this movie. They do an ice skating competition when they should be friends. I'm repeating myself because I feel so passionately about it. Sorry, I got another notification. Okay, so there are some other examples. I realize now I kind of just should have gotten into it. Let's get straight in to the first movie, Bells on Ice. Now, I have several problems with it. I already mentioned my first one, the weird camaraderie, rivalry, dynamic thing. Another big problem that I had with this section was the resolution. How does it get resolved, you may ask? How does this amazing story they've set up for us, I'm being sarcastic. How does this amazing story they've set up for us get resolved? Well, I'll tell you. You see, what happens is Minnie slips on a sleigh bell and she falls, and that changes everything because Minnie had a mess up. She slipped, and Daisy's like, "Oh, I'm so happy now. Oh, we should have never fought ever. Why did they fight in the first place?" There was no reason for them to fight. You know how it's presented? Daisy like walks up there all pumped. It's like, "I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna be better than you." And Daisy thinks she's the better skater. And they try to one up each other throughout the whole thing, and it just doesn't work. The resolution is stupid. Another big problem I have with it is, this is a smaller problem, it's still a ridiculous problem. There are alligators and hippopotami, people. There are hippopotami dancers in this movie. Never before have we been presented with hippopotami or alligators. I don't understand why it's happening. Sorry, just had to take off my socks because they're kind of getting juicy down there. Why are there alligator dancers? Where did they come from? How did Minnie afford to hire them? We saw before in the last movie that Minnie and Daisy both work at a mall. That could have just been a winter job, but I doubt that if they had a good job, they would need to go to the mall to work there, okay? And we saw Minnie had like a very small apartment, so we know they are not that rich. How could they possibly afford to have all these accompaniments here with them? And another thing that doesn't make any sense is there are singers the whole time. And when Minnie falls, they don't stop singing. I believe this could be a mistake. I could be making this up. I could be manufacturing it. Correct me again. But I believe the singers don't stop singing. So I just don't like it. The length is another big problem for me. It's too short. There are 5 shorts in this movie. Why do they have to do 5? Just do 3. It's a formula that always works. 3 is the magic number. 3-act story structure. The big 3: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. Or if you're a little Roman boy, Neptune, Saturn, and Hades doesn't have a planet now, does he? What's up with that? Is Hades doesn't even have a planet. Hades doesn't have a planet. Come on, people. Okay. Anyways, the point is, 3 is a big number. They should have just kept with that. 5 is a stupid number. Nobody likes 5. And I don't understand why they did it. Because you know what it does? They still have an hour-long time frame, so it shortens it down so that you have this kind of like 5 minutes, then you have like a 10-minute short, and then you have a 2-minute short, then you have like a 20-minute short, and it all feels uneven. You have to have, these stories have to be of equal length so that you get into a nice flow, and you know what's coming next, and you know all the stories wrapping up. What's the amazing lesson they're trying to teach to us in this one? Well, in my mind, the lesson is that you shouldn't have ice skating competitions. There's no lesson. What is the lesson? Another thing, this movie could have entirely taken place not during Christmas. There are no Christmas vibes during it. They're ice skating. Ice skating isn't a exclusively Christmas-related activity. It can happen at any time, any place. So why is this in this short? I asked that question of all these movies, but this one a little bit more than some of the other ones. I have other ones that I don't like even more. That should tell you how much I hate this story. We're going to move on to the next short, one of the longer shorts, Christmas Impossible. Now the title, first of all, it's a parody of Mission Impossible. What are they trying to do here? Guys, you're Disney. Stop trying to get all cute and self-aware and trying to parody Mission Impossible. And guess what? It's not even that much like Mission Impossible. They have like a one scene where they're dangling down and trying to steal a key from Santa because apparently Santa keeps his list locked up, but he doesn't keep his entire North Pole locked up with Santa magic. How are Huey, Louie, and Dewey able to get to the North Pole? That is my question. How are they able to get to the North Pole? North Pole. Sorry. My mouth. It can't handle all of this disgust. Okay, look, yeah, we have an okay beginning. Scrooge McDuck is like, oh, I wish I hadn't have been so bad, or else I would have gotten my bagpipes? Why does he want bagpipes? And you know what his explanation for not buying bagpipes? Because he's a quintillionaire. You can't buy your name on the good list. You can, though. You can buy the present if you're a quintillionaire. Does he think like, oh no, it's a sacred realm, I can never buy bagpipes? You can buy bagpipes, literally whenever you want. You could probably get bagpipes shipped first class in your own private jet within 20 minutes if you really wanted to, Scrooge McDuck. Your reasoning is stupid. So even the best part of this movie is still terrible. We go to the North Pole. Look, why are they going to the North Pole? In the original movie, there was this great mystique around Santa. Is he real? Is he not? The main place where we see it is in the second short. We see a little bit of maybe a shooting star. That might have been Santa in the first short, but we don't really see it in the third one. The second one is where we mainly see it. We see a little glimpse of Santa flying around. We get a little bit of a confirmation that he's real, but we never really see Santa up close. We never get to meet the reindeer. We see a little bit of magic sparkles coming down from the sky, but that's all. Because Santa, in real life, is an enigma. We don't know what he's like. And these movies have to relate to us. They have to make us feel at home. I've been saying this. The 2D animation makes you feel at home. And you know what else makes you feel at home? The story structure. Everything matters. When you're trying to establish the type of film that this is trying to be, you need to follow these rules or it's just not going to work. It normalizes the North Pole existing. It normalizes the fact that you could literally just ship yourself to the North Pole. There's no struggle over that. There's literally no plotting over how they're going to get to the North Pole. They literally just ship themselves to it. I don't understand why this story exists. There are other complaints I have too. I had to write all these down. I know you've been seeing these papers flailing around. I had to write all these down so I could keep my thoughts in order, in case you're wondering what that is. But I am speaking from the heart. Again, it tries to parody Mission Impossible with its little thing where they're going down. And it reuses a joke from the first one, okay? What are you doing? It does this almost the same exact joke as they did in the last one. What happens is Santa takes like a cigarette or something. I don't know what it was. He takes something and he accidentally puts it in with one of the little ducks. Huey, Louie, who cares? They're all the same duck. He puts it in with a little cabinet while Huey is trying to attain the key that opens the list to Santa's nice list, and Huey's butt goes on fire. Oh, that's the big guffaw, the big physical joke they're doing, not the witty, stupid dialogue. Which, by the way, there's a lot of that in this one. That's where the elf dialogue kind of comes in. But they have this physical joke where Huey, Louie, or Dewey, one of them, their butt gets set on fire. And then Santa says, oh, what are they cooking for dinner? Roast duck? But the thing is, they did the same thing with Stinky Pete. Stinky Pete, when he was stealing the money from Mickey, he took the money and he also grabbed a cigarette and he put it in his pocket. Great scene. Great animated. I really love that scene. The way it goes into the pocket. Sorry, I'm fanboying again. What can I say? But he puts it in his pocket and his butt lights on fire, essentially. And he's like, who's cooking meat or something along those lines. I haven't seen the movie in 2 months, so I don't remember crystal clear what the line is. And that's a great joke, a funny joke. But if you do it again, it gets less funny. That's just science, okay? If you tell a joke 2 times, it's not as funny the second time. And this movie just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel magical. It's so filled with magic that you literally can't experience the magic. It just feels lazy. Lazy writing, a lazy story. This so cliched plot of, you go to the North Pole. It doesn't make any sense. Why are they so okay with it? This is a big point. Why are the elves... Sorry, I gotta readjust myself. Why are the elves so okay with it? Why are the elves so nice? Why do the elves allow Huey, Louie, and Dewey to clean up the boxes? Why are Huey, Louie, and Dewey so good at cleaning up the boxes? Why are Huey, Louie, and Dewey so good at wrapping presents? There's a little boys. All they've ever done in their life is open presents. They shouldn't be good at this, but they do it so good. And they try to get cute with the editing as well. They try to do a little, like a fast thing, like the speeding up, kind of like an elf when he throws the snowballs really fast, kind of like that, to make it seem like they're speeding up, and you can obviously tell it was just sped up footage. Not footage. CGI. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for this type of movie. It's fine in other movies, but this movie, it does not work, I am telling you. And as much as the elves are okay with Huey, Louie, and Dewey being in the North Pole, they just kind of completely disregard all that being okay with. And when they come into the room with Santa's list, which, by the way, what was that? Why was it so like spread out like that? Have a big list. Doesn't look good when it's like that. The point is, they were trying to steal the list, and one of the elves says, "Hey, you can't be in here, okay? You're not allowed to be in here." And they come up with some stupid excuse. They're making elves seem like idiots, okay? I'm just gonna say it. It's poor elf representation for all the elves out there watching this video. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe. The point is, it just doesn't make any sense. They're trying to get themselves out of holes they've written for themselves. Have better writers. Maybe, Walter, hire some better writers. Let's move on to the next short. Christmas Maximus. In my mind, it's tied with Bells on Ice to be the worst one. Christmas Maximus is literally so pointless. I watched it and I was genuinely baffled at how bad it was, how pointless it was. I'm gonna run down the plot for you here in my condescending tone. Max, Goofy's son, has a girlfriend. They're now in college. We have a big time jump from the original Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, where Max is a kid. Goofy doesn't make any sense. Why are they changing things? Goofy is asked to accommodate his girlfriend and be kind to her. And then they go home, and Goofy is just Goofy. He shows baby pictures, and they have to take pictures of each other. He gets embarrassed because Goofy wipes Max's face. And the whole time, his girlfriend, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. I would love to. I'm a big fan of the feminist movement. Of course, when feminism is done correctly, not in the radical way that it is most majorly portrayed in the media today, but in the original message, equality for all genders. I wish I did remember her name. I can't. She's not a main character. But she's just eating it up. If I was in the stand, I'd just be kind of laughing it off too. I wouldn't really care that much. But they make Max be like this total like jerk. Like he can't even handle a bit of like goofing around. Pun fully intended. And he goes on this like sad walk around the snowfield, and there's like sad music playing. And it's like, oh. And then it lasts for like 10 seconds. And then he, I don't know what it is. He looks at like a thing that says, that reminds him of his dad. It doesn't matter what it was. He looks back and he's like, oh, I should join them again. Again, it's like such a slow conflict resolution thing. Like the majority of the conflict lasts for like 20 seconds. And don't get me wrong, this short is 5 minutes long, because who cares about having a 20-minute long short? 5-minute long shorts are great, but this short is so long that you can't have any time to get to know this story. It also assumes that you understand the character of Max, that he already has a girlfriend. They're already aware that he's in college. I know that a lot of people watch other movies, but watch other movies from the Mickey Mouse extended cinematic universe. But personally, I am one of the believers in a spin-off universe for the Mickey's Upon a Christmas universe, where all the events in those movies take place separately. Because you have other movies like Minnie Mouse and the Beanstalk, or movies that are kind of historical, and can you really consider those to be true to the canon of Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas? So I find it makes more sense to simplify the story and just assume the only stories that are actually canon are the first and second Upon a Christmas movies in the Upon a Christmas anthology. But what was I in the middle of saying? I kind of got sidetracked there, having a tangent. I do that often. Great podcast, SciShow Tangents. It's not a great podcast. I just like it because it has Hank Green in it. It's a competitive knowledge showcase where four guests, they duke it off. Not guests, people. They duke it off to see who knows the most about science. That's the best way I can describe it. And every time you get a thing right, you get a Hank Buck, which you can spend on a tangent, because they are prolific towards tangents. I am stalling so that I can think of what it is, when in reality I could have just done a jump cut. Okay, well, yeah, I was basically done. So, I'm just gonna, that was the basic summary of the story, all the big flaws I have with it. I'm gonna go more in depth here. There's a scene where, for some reason, Goofy is like shoveling snow, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's pulling out a phone, and it's a normal cell phone. It's 2004, little flip phone, and there's this weird gag that's like straight out of the Mickey Mouse Playhouse, Clubhouse. Sorry, a little mistake there. Which is again completely separate canonical universe. He takes it out, he flips it open, and the telephone. I literally don't understand the purpose of this. I can't think of a possible reason why this would have to be in here. It's not funny. It doesn't make any sense. Why is it in here? It's totally breaking the rules of this universe. He opens the phone, and the phone turns into a rotary dial phone. One of the phones where you put your finger in, and you go, and you let it go, and it goes, and then you just type in all the numbers like that. Type in, spin. It turns into a rotary phone, and he picks it up like that. It's a cell phone, buddy. Why did you have to do that? There wasn't even a telephone line coming out of it. It doesn't make any sense. I know you might think, oh, it's just a silly cartoon. But guess what? Nowhere else in the original Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas was there any sort of comical gag like that where it didn't make any sense. Sure, there were a couple of comical gags where they tried to catch food, and that was almost impossible. But there was nothing where that literally were like science was broken and there was like crazy technology. It just doesn't work at all. It was like out of nowhere, and I was completely bamboozled by it. Max is a girlfriend. Could be just a personal choice. I just don't like it. The girlfriend doesn't talk at all. Maybe she has a couple lines of dialogue. I can't remember. But the main thing I focused on was her just going like, ooh, hee hee. Ha ha, hoo hoo, the whole time. That's all she was doing. She was just kind of, acting like a little person there just to laugh at everyone's jokes, to laugh at Goofy, to laugh at Max, just there to please them. Again, I'm a big fan of the feminist movement. I don't think this portrayed women properly, and I think it could have been handled much better. So, that is all I have to say about Goofius Maximus, or whatever it is. Christmas Maximus. What is the title? No, I have one more thing to say. The title is stupid. But no, that's not my actual thing. The thing I have to say is the use of non-traditional Christmas music in Christmas Maximus. When Max is on the train, they start this sequence of music that's not Christmas music. It's this like straight out of Phineas and Ferb, a song that directly relates to what is happening. That's not Disney. That's not Upon a Christmas material. These guys don't understand. They also, one more thing. They do another thing where Goofy Max is trying to sleep on the subway, and they kind of do a bunch of cuts of him in different positions. I didn't like that either. I thought it was, again, trying to get too fancy with it, too cute, I've been saying. I don't know if that's the best term. It's, again, trying to just get too ridiculous with it. So, that's all I have to say about Christmas Maximus. Let's move on to the 4th out of 5th short. I am exasperated by the number of shorts in this movie. The 5th short, Donald's Gift. Actually, I gotta take a drink of water, because I've been talking for 45 minutes. Okay, I am back. I did have water. I also watched a YouTube video, and shaved my face simultaneously. I'm such a good multitasker. The next story is Donald's Gift. I don't know why it's called Donald's Gift. Doesn't make much sense to me. It's not what it's about, really. The main premise of this story is that Donald Duck wants hot chocolate. Yes, that's right, folks. Donald wants hot chocolate. And Donald will go to any lengths possible to find it. Another interesting thing that happens is that everyone is singing Deck the Halls, or some other song, it doesn't matter what it is, singing Deck the Halls constantly for some reason. I don't know why. There's no explanation ever. There's no reason why. It is literally just like so there could be an ending, which isn't even that good. The reason why they were singing Deck the Halls is that Donald Duck could orchestrate a group of choir singers because apparently he knew the song so well that he was able to become a conductor and perfectly knew all the hand gestures. He knew tenors, altos. We've never had any inkling of a little glimpse into Donald's music life, but apparently he has one because he knows all the music terminology and he's able to perfectly conduct these people who don't know how to sing Deck the Halls, apparently. Another thing, I didn't explain it that well. Donald tries to get hot chocolate and he can't get it and he keeps on getting stopped, but as he's trying to get hot chocolate, he has to leave his family, Daisy and his nephews, and they get mad at him for that because he just wanted to get some hot chocolate. But honestly, they're trying to teach a lesson here. I don't even agree with it. I don't know what the lesson is exactly, but it's like, it's so fuzzy, and it feels like you're supposed to feel like not good for Daisy and the uncles and feel like Donald is in the wrong, but he's really in no way not. Like, he just wants some hot chocolate and he can't get it. What's the big deal? The thing that he did on stage was an accident, and they made it seem like Donald was actually like not depressed, but like really sad about what he did, when in reality it was completely an accident. There's nothing he could have done about it. So I don't understand really why it's made out to, that's like the lesson. It's not good. He orders a giant cup of hot chocolate. Why is it so comically large? Just to get a laugh? It's just because it's silly doesn't mean it's going to be funny. I don't think that works. There is a scene where Donald sees a hallucination of him saying, I really like hot chocolate. And then the hallucination also says, hey look, a bus. You're missing your bus. Why is he hallucinating? What is the point of that? That's so silly. That doesn't happen. I just don't understand it at all. Okay. And also, why does he want hot chocolate so much? Why? No one wants the hot chocolate that much. And why is it so hard for him to get hot chocolate? The lesson learned here is that you shouldn't abandon your family. You shouldn't wreck a stage, but it was an accident. And Donald sees Daisy and Huey, Louie, and Dewey drinking hot chocolate together, and that's when he feels really bad about it. But he already felt bad about it, so why did he need that? Why did he feel bad about it at all? I honestly think that Daisy, Huey, Louie, and Dewey are in the wrong here for getting so angry at him. The final story, Mickey's Doggone Christmas, is honestly my favorite. I still hated it, but it was my favorite. It is leagues below all the others, but it was my favorite. I'm going to lay down the basic premise of the story. Mickey is trying to set up for a Christmas party, and he wants Pluto to put on the star, because Pluto really likes putting on the star. That's his thing. And Pluto puts on the star. Pluto really wants to put on the star so badly that he knocks over the tree and ruins everything. So he's put out into the kennel. He feels really bad about it. He feels like a bad dog. He feels like he doesn't belong. He doesn't belong to Mickey anymore. He doesn't have the right to wear that his Pluto collar. So he takes it off and just kind of goes on an adventure, basically. He walks around and eventually he finds his way to the North Pole. Again, why does he go to the North Pole? I don't like this theme of people going to the North Pole. This isn't the type of movie where you go to the North Pole because it's supposed to be a Christmas movies that are based in reality, but this is based in magic, and magic isn't cool because it's just normalized. It's made to feel like, oh, there's nothing mysterious about it. This is just the way of the world. Like any old person can stumble upon the place. So basically, the reindeer adopt him. The reindeer can talk, obviously. Mickey Mouse rules. Pluto cannot. They adopt him as his own dog, even though the reindeer are quadrupeds, I believe is the great... Hey Siri, define quadruped. Just a second here. Hold on. Siri is saying. I gotta make sure this is correct.
Quadruped means an animal which has 4 feet, especially an ungulate mammal.
Okay, yeah, an animal that has 4 feet. The reindeer are quadrupeds too, so the rules here, again, get a little fuzzy. Why are the reindeer able to talk when they are quadrupeds? They walk on 4 feet. As far as we've established, all the animals that can talk have had to walk on 2 feet. But these reindeer, they're quadrupeds and they can talk. It's ridiculous. They're breaking their own rules, and there needs to be some continuity to this. In a world where animals are made to be anthropomorphic, there are obviously some struggles you run into. And for the most part, they handle that perfectly in Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. But in Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas, especially in Mickey's Doggone Christmas, Mickey's Doggone... It's just Mickey's Doggone. I feel like it should be Mickey's Doggone Christmas. Mickey's Doggone. Not even proper grammar, by the way. It is dog space gone. I know it's a pun, but it's not even proper grammar. Disney. Mickey's Doggone Christmas, they are breaking the rules. There needs to be some continuity here. You can't just say, oh, well, they're anthropomorphic animals. You can do whatever you want with them. You need to have some form of rules. So, Mickey obviously finds out that he's gone, and he goes searching for him, handing out flyers. For some reason, no one cares. You know, that's a little bit of an emotional moment. As I said, this is my favorite. What's his name? Pluto. He gets a collar, and they allow him to fly, and but then he starts seeing a bunch of Mickey clouds, and that's the whole thing. He sees things that are shaped like Mickey. A lot of hallucinogenics in this movie. You know? He also imagines Mickey repeating everything that he said before, kind of like Home Alone style, where Buzz says, "Kevin, I'm gonna feed you to my tarantula." But instead Mickey's like, "Oh, hi, pal! I hate you! Pluto, I hate you!" Like that. But like imagining it in like a projection onto the screen. They do a lot of that. I don't like it. Where was I? Anyways, Pluto, he sees Mickey everywhere, and that's the whole reason. And he can fly, because apparently the reindeers get their powers from their collars. A choice I don't like. Obviously, everyone has their own rules when it comes to the reindeer, but the magic coming from the collars, really? I feel like the reindeer should have some sort of magic ability. Otherwise, what's really the point of using reindeer? It could be a horse. Seems like that would be more efficient, wouldn't it? And Pluto ends up coming home, and they meet each other, and all the characters come. Daisy, Minnie, Donald, Huey, Louie, Dewey, Scrooge, Goofy. They all come, and they're like, oh, what happened? And Pluto's back. So there's not a lot of things I can really say about this one. It's kind of a little better, so it's like it's just like bad. There's not many specific things I can get into. It just has all the same problems as the other ones. Just bad dialogue, too witty. What are some other things I want to say about Mickey's Doggone Christmas before I do a little conclusion? I think that's it. So yeah, I don't want to, try to find specific like nitpicky flaws just to make it seem like a bad movie. Again, this isn't the worst movie of all time. It's just such a letdown to me that I feel so passionate about how bad it was, how stupid it was. So yeah, there's a little final ending sequence, which I, again, hated. They did the exact same thing as before, where they all sing, "Jingle, jingle, Merry Christmas, deck the halls." I can't explain it. Just watch it. Watch both movies. They end it in the exact same way. And that's like the really real moment where you can really appreciate it. Sorry, my throat is just... Whew. It's the real moment where you can appreciate it. How good Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas was compared to Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. Because that's like a shot-for-shot recreation. And just, when you watch the first one, it's so much better. Just the animation alone. And it's just more satisfying in general. And they also draw the conclusion more in Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, which I appreciated. And this one, they kind of just wrapped it up. Like, that's all. So I will talk about a little bit about the little intermittent areas, little storybook thing. I didn't like it as much. They kind of did like a whole summary of the story, basically. Like a synopsis. The little narrator, I don't know, I think it was a different narrator. I didn't like him as much, obviously. The narrator guy, he told basically the whole story, and it was told through pop-up books. They didn't do it the same way as they did before. I think, I get it, they're trying to be creative, but it's a formula that works when you're making a movie called Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. People expect it to be a direct sequel, an exact, like... Not the exact movie. I want really creative ideas, but I want the same kind of style, because it ruins the whole feel. If you watch these two movies back to back, you're gonna have a wild ride. You're gonna be like Mr. Toad up in there. So it's all, yeah, I said it's through storybook, like a little pop-up book, as opposed to the original Teddy, a Teddy toy boat, and I don't know what it was. There's some other things. That they used each one, they zoomed in it, and they did like a sentence. They told about it, but this one they did like 8 sentences maybe. They still did the whole rhyming thing. It was still kind of magical, cool, but just wasn't as good. So, that is all. As you can see, I have really gone above and beyond with this one. I'm going to show you just a little bit of my notes here, just so I can... This is just kind of so I wasn't stumbling as much. Kind of all my little notes there I wrote out. So that is my argumentative video, I guess, explanatory video on why Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas is awful and should be removed from the Mickey's Upon a Christmas extended universe promptly. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to argue with me further about this particular topic, or, you know, agree with me, I'm always down in the comments. You have my email. And I'm going to change my email if this video goes viral. You know that, right? Actually, why? I like getting emails from fans. Send me as many emails as you want. This video isn't going to go viral. I know it. What more? Yeah. I love this movie. I love Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. I hate Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. I am passionate about it. This is real. None of this is sarcasm. A little bit of things are exaggerated here and there just to make the point seem better. But for the most part, I actually feel this way. I actually do really like Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, and I really do cry every time. And I really do watch it every Christmas. It's kind of a tradition that I've made myself, a singular tradition. Subscribe. I make a lot of other videos. They're usually not like this. This is kind of a step out of the Zach Riley video boundary. I make other cool, like, more edited videos and more story-based videos. Vlog / story combo stuff. I made a documentary about my brother's car crash. This isn't important. I just don't want this video to end. I'm kind of just dragging it out. Okay. I gotta just end it sometime. So, watch Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Don't watch Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas unless you really want to experience pain. Subscribe, like, comment, talk to me. Goodbye.